A new podcast will be making its debut on WCSU FM starting March 24th.
Dynver Lovette is here to discuss with us her new show, Marauders Mental Health Matters. How are you today, Dynver?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
We're happy to have you here with us.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and get started. What inspired you to start a podcast focused on mental health?
I feel like mental health is a big thing that I wouldn't necessarily say is ignored, but it's not necessarily talked about enough within college students. As a college student and someone that has been through mental health outside of college, I realize how important it is, especially with how busy we can be on campus. I think the best people to talk to about things that might bother you or things that you might need help with around campus are people that are also around campus. So I figure starting a podcast where we can just talk, get some advice, get some tips and some tricks on different things about Central State would be a good place for people to get a good outlet. So
I feel that. That's very altruistic of you.
thanks. Before it's here, okay?
How do you hope that your podcast will help the conversation around mental health?
I hope that it will allow people to feel more comfortable talking about it. I know that there's not, like I said, always a place where people can go or they feel like they can go to talk to someone about things. So I hope that with the guests that I bring onto my podcast and certain topics that I talk about, people can feel more comfortable to express their needs and concerns on campus.
Oh, that's nice. It'll help with the stigmas and all that.
Yes.
Stigma is really a huge issue, especially in Ohio.
Yes.
So it's really good that you're doing that.
Especially in the Black community.
For sure. I don't like we have enough places to just let ourselves be free, let ourselves be comfortable. And since I've been going to school here, which hasn't been a long time, I've become more comfortable. I feel like I have more of like a family dynamic here with people I can talk to. And I want other people to feel like they have that outlet as well. So I'm an outgoing person, and I know every person is not that way. So I feel like if I can be that for more people that are not outgoing, then that would be a good thing.
Absolutely. What specific mental health topics or issues are you most passionate about addressing in your episodes?
I would have to say just like dealing with everyday life on campus as a college student. I'm an older college student. I can say I'm 23, so I feel like I have a lot of different concerns than people that are fresh out of high school. So I do plan on bringing all kinds of people in, from student leaders to student athletes, people who have started organizations or who help around in different ways on campus, so that different people can interact with different people. I feel like I'm good for instance, I cheer, so I feel like I would be a good person to talk to with people who want to maybe become an athlete on campus, but I can't answer all questions. So having other people, like I said, who are in organizations or student leaders, they can talk to people who might want to be a student leader one day or might want to start an organization or who just wants to get more involved on campus.
To get multiple perspectives.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
I understand that.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. How do you plan on balancing awareness with also giving out practical advice to your listeners?
That's a really good question. I did plan on having a thing where people could give me topics that they want me to talk about specifically, because although I feel like I do have a lot of things that I can talk about just from personal experience, there's a lot of things that people want to know about. So I was going to have like an open forum on the Instagram page that I'm creating for the podcast where people can just DM me or send in their concerns for us to talk about every week on the podcast that my guests and myself can talk about and answer.
That's nice, interacting with your audience.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you already have this Instagram page up already?
No, I didn't even think about it at first until like recently, where I felt like people should be able to come in if they, for instance, missed the podcast on Monday, they can go in to the Instagram page, get a few clips in from that week, or they can see what's coming up next, or just who's coming onto the podcast, because every week we're going to bring in different groups of people. Like you guys said, it is starting on the 24th, which is the Monday coming up. And the first week we're having athletes. So for people who are interested in becoming an athlete, or they have any questions, or for people who might want to know how we juggle everyday life here on campus, I feel like that's a good place for them to go.
Absolutely. And where can everyone listen to your podcast?
You can listen to it on WCSUFM.org every Monday.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your endeavors with us, and I'm looking forward to seeing what content you provide.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. As a cheerleader, how do you think mental health affects like athletes? I know, especially dealing with sports and being on the road, plus doing homework and missing class time, all of that. How do you deal with it personally?
This was my first year cheering here. It was not my first year cheering, but in college it's completely different, I can say, than it was for me in high school. We are very busy every single week, not just with games that we might have, but like little events that people might ask us to be a part of. So it can be challenging when you do have homework, when you do have cheer, when you do have just other things that you have to deal with. I personally have learned how to do time management because I've been in school for a long time. So I always just look at my week every Sunday, see what I have planned, see what I have going on. I kind of time everything out day by day, see what I can fit in throughout the day. As far as homework goes, practice, travel, and then I make sure I have time at least a couple times a week for myself, just so that I can focus on myself and come back to myself. But at the end of the day, it's like I wouldn't say it's hard, but it's something that you're gonna have to prioritize. If you wanna be a student athlete, you have to realize you are exactly what it says, you're a student athlete. So that's gonna be like your top priority. You just have to learn how to juggle your own personal schedule.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you for being here today, Dynver.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you.